Aston Villa fans, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. And today's Villa AM for the 11th of October, where we are going to discuss probably the most polarizing player playing for Aston Villa currently at this moment in time, and that is Matty Cash. Small bit of a disclaimer at the start of this podcast is this podcast isn't meant to make you think any better or any worse of Matty Cash. This is just going to be a podcast. It's going to just describe, discuss, talk about him and how he's kind of started the season for Aston Villa, for better, for worse. And if you guys have any comments, queries, questions, concerns with regards to Matty Cash, please don't be afraid to pop them in the comments as well. But as I say, this is not a podcast to make you feel any better or any worse about Matty Cash, because I completely understand that everybody has their side on Matty Cash, let's say. But as I say, Matty Cash is the conundrum for today. And the reason that I say that is that because he is so polarizing amongst Aston Villa fans, for a lot of reasons, it's okay to not be Matty Cash's biggest fan. But sometimes I think personally that he doesn't get credit for maybe when he just has steady games, or maybe even when he scored that goal against Sunderland. But the Matty Cash conundrum runs deep. It's ran deep for the last 3-4 years. Going forward, he is a small bit of a speed bump. Does cut back quite a lot. I don't know, that doesn't butter any parsnips for Aston Villa fans. And it is something that I think that Aston Villa fans have been wondering, when's his competition going to come in? Considering the fact that Unai Emery has played Ezri Konsa out there, has brought in right backs in almost every single transfer window that he's had. Has played Lamar Bogard back there. Has played Axel Disasi back there. Andres Garcia is obviously the understudy to Matty Cash. Or maybe it is Victor Lindelof as well, the man in many positions. But Matty Cash seems to be the person that owns that jersey at the moment, owns that right back position, and is Unai Emery's first choice right back, for better or for worse. So he's very much so a player worth discussing. Start to the season, this season has been up and down. It's been not the perfect start for him. I think he would even admit that himself, specifically in the Premier League. I think he started the league pretty okay against Newcastle United. I think he had an okay game. Wasn't perfect, but he had an okay game. Against Brentford, had a lot to... I think the whole team had a down game that day. Didn't have a whole pile that went on for him, but he was involved in that goal, where the ball does ricochet back off him very unluckily, goes into the Brentford player Adware's path, and he sticks it away, and we're 1-0 down. Wrong place, wrong time. Doesn't play very well against Crystal Palace. Everton, steady game. A lot of people had their concerns over some of his attacking situations there. Then he goes on and he scores against Sunderland after scoring some goals for Poland while he was away on an international duty. Fulham, steady performance. Burnley, steady performance again. So there's nothing really outside of that Sunderland goal. It's been up and it's been down and it's been steady. I think that's probably the right way to describe his season so far. Is there's been some good games. There's been some not so great games. There's a goal that he scored against Sunderland. And at this moment in time, he seems to be, or well, he is, based on how many right backs we have at the club or we don't have at the club, he is our right back going forward. January is going to be an interesting time. Or well, actually, I say not even January. I would say Andres Garcia getting back to full fitness is going to make it an interesting time for Matty Cash. Because does he need that competition there? I think he does. I think he's a good guy. I think he's strived very hard to get to where he is. Started off at Dagenham Redbridge, moving on to or started at Forest, obviously sometime at Dagenham Redbridge, moving on to Aston Villa. He's done his apprenticeship in the lower leagues. He's now playing Champions League football, or he's played Champions League football. He's playing international football. He's playing for a Premier League team. He's forged a really, really good career. I think familiarity bias as well. For me specifically, this year I found myself being more critical, being more frustrated with Matty Cash, and was wanting to see more from him. And I think that's a fair criticism, I think, of a lot of people. And something we see an awful lot is that what has Matty Cash done to progress in the last 3 years? And I think that is a very fair criticism. And it's something that he can do. He can show us. He can change. And maybe that we start to see more assists in his game, maybe more goals, maybe just a small bit more flair going forward. Is he that type of player? I don't know. Because whenever he goes forward, he does have that tendency to cut back. But I think one of the big things, I suppose, for Matty Cash this season is taking a look at some of his statistics. He's played 10 games for Aston Villa this year in all competitions, 901 minutes. He's when he's been on the field, Aston Villa have conceded 7 goals only. He's had 18 tackles, of which 9 of which he's won. He's had 8 shots blocked. I think I can't remember what game it was. Maybe it was the Bologna game where he just blocked absolutely everything. He was in the way of everything that day. Was it the Bologna game? Maybe it was Feyenoord. I can't remember. Then he's had 12 shot creating actions, equates to 1.38 per 90 minutes. His pass completion rate coming in at 80.4%. He's had 1 goal from 8 shots. He's had no assists. I think as a right back or as a full back, for me, I would like to see that assist number go up. I'd like to see him cross the ball a bit more. I'd like to see him get into the end line a small bit more. It's never been part of his game. Am I foolish for thinking that? Probably so. But the next evolution of Matty Cash is not going to be an inverted fullback. Yes, he did play as in midfield for a period of time with Nottingham Forest, but the next evolution for Matty Cash has to be in that attacking part of the field, not having any sloppy crosses, giving away the ball like he did against Newcastle. I don't particularly blame him for that red card, but I can understand why other people do. And that was moving on as well from Manchester United at the end of last year. Concentration, a small bit more application in the forward third, I think would be huge for Matty Cash. And it's something that he needs to do to up his game. Just looking at his statistics so far as well here in comparison to other fullbacks, again, very middle of the road. Progressive passes. This is over the last 365 days. The progressive nature of his game is the bit that you see here. The amount of passes attempted, the amount of shot creating actions, the amount of assists, the amount of progressive passes. They are the ones that you see there in the red, and they're something that he is going to have to get better at if he is to go to the next level in his progression as a fullback. Can he do it? Well, only Matty Cash will be able to tell us that and show us that in the field. So that is the Cash conundrum for me. What happens for him? How he's come through this season so far? What does he need to do to get to the next level? Can he do that? All will be revealed, I suppose, at the end of the year when we see how Matty Cash evolves throughout the course of the rest of this year. So that's been your Villa AM for today. And again, thank you so much, everybody, for watching and listening. Stay safe, stay healthy. And all that's left to say is up the Villa.